Hi, and welcome back to Wellness Watch. We have a fun show today with my obvious co-host, Patty Friedman, but we have a wonderful guest in Kathy Danforth, who is going to talk about something in her life that we have talked about as one of the biggest top three in wellness, which is smoking. And obviously it's huge as part of wellness to get rid of it if you can and find a way to do it. But Kathy has a great story about how it all began with her and how you've dealt with it and the ups and downs of it. And if you want to give us a quick, not quick, but synopsis.
Sure. I started smoking when I was 12 years old. We had a babysitter that handed each one of us a cigarette. I have 3 siblings, and I was the only one that kept it up. The first time I tried to quit, I was 19 years old, and I used acupuncture, and it lasted maybe a day, and I was just really, really nervous, and so I couldn't stop. And then I smoked through both of my pregnancies, unfortunately, but thankfully my kids are okay.
Oh, okay.
And I ended up smoking for 35 years. I tried a million times to quit. I tried a million different ways to quit. And finally, back in 2011, May 1st, 2011, I decided that I wanted to quit more than I wanted to smoke. And I had joined the Upper Valley Aquatic Center about 2 months before that. And the smoking was not going well with my exercise routine.
Funny how that
They
happens.
don't go together
Yeah,
well,
they are
do
not a
they?
good mix.
Yeah.
I couldn't even run for 2 minutes on the treadmill. I was out of breath, and the very first day that I worked out for a half hour, I went home and I had to lay down for an hour
Oh my
because
gosh.
I was so shaky and
Oh,
nauseous.
yeah.
But I got a lot of support from them and from friends of mine. I made new friends, and I had to change everything about me and my daily routine. And I used to get up and light a cigarette, make coffee, smoke 3 or 4 more cigarettes on, getting ready for work or whatever. And then, there's times during the day that you have to have a cigarette, like every half hour. And
Speaking.
a certain stop sign you stop at on the road. And then if I went out to eat or anything with any of my friends, I couldn't enjoy my time because I just kept thinking, when can I go have a cigarette? And how can I come back in here not smelling like a cigarette? And cigarettes held me hostage. I was a slave to them. And
But you didn't realize that at
I
that
didn't.
time, right?
I didn't realize
Yeah.
it until it finally dawned on me because when I first started trying to get healthy, I used to go hiking at the Heartland Dam.
Sure.
And there's a huge hill there. And the first time I tried to go up that hill, I had to stop 4 times because I couldn't breathe. And I couldn't breathe so bad that I almost started crying automatically. It was just a reaction from my body. And I said, by the end of summer, I am walking up this hill and I'm not going to stop because I just felt like this is it. I'm going to be stronger than the nicotine. I'm going to fight.
And it was bigger than you.
It was
that
bigger
time.
than me at
It
one
is
time.
with any of us that are hooked.
Yes, anyone. It's a very, very, very hard thing to quit.
It's a drug.
Absolutely hard.
Sure.
Number one, because, a long time ago, it wasn't, it was more socially acceptable. And, then they started, no smoking in the restaurants, no smoking in the bars, no smoking
Right.
in public,
They made it easier.
which, to begin with, I was kind of upset about that. Well, now, I felt like an outcast.
Yep, sure.
What you were saying about in different environments, that I think is what can make it successful for people. And living in a place like this where one restaurant banned it, then the next, and they all follow suit instead of just one being the outlier. So that makes it so much easier when you're not the only one that's having to go through it, and it makes it easier because you're not going to be able to anyway. So there's a
That's
whole
right.
night out where you have to be used to. That's true in any scene.
Yeah.
But I think what you've said, what resonates with me the most about this
Mm-hmm.
is, and I can vouch for it, two big elements. That number one, you wanted to, you really finally wanted to quit,
Yeah.
and number two, you had support.
That's right.
And if you don't have one or both of those, it is deadly to try.
Yeah.
You're just on your own and you don't know how to do it, so you cave.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that scene you were describing is critical. And you
Yeah.
also don't want to go back to all the people that were smoking all around you.
No, I had to change. I had to change my whole daily routine, and I had to change. I could not be around people who were smoking because I knew that I would smoke a cigarette. And
Is that still an issue? So how?
No.
So it's been 5 years,
it's almost 6.
almost 6 in May.
We,
6,
we
yeah,
remember
so-
the dates, we do.
Yeah, May 1st.
Sometimes when I accomplish something, I'll get that feeling of, oh, it's time to have a
Celebrate.
cigarette, you know. And
Yeah.
but I don't. I will. I'm pretty sure I'll never smoke again.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
you're feeling it now physically, how much you're doing now.
Yeah, because
I-
also, I mean, what you've done with your life since
Yeah.
you stopped smoking
Yes.
is awesome.
Yes, I changed my diet. I eat healthy now, and I work out 3 or 4 times a week.
So one of the things, Kathy, that I often hear from folks is that I don't want to quit because I'm afraid I'm going to gain weight. And
True.
now you are, you had the exercise already in place, but that's still not all that has to be done. So
That's right.
talk to us or
So-
the audience about your experience with that.
So about the weight gain, it's normal from what I read and what I hear that in the first 3 months of quitting smoking, you could gain up to 10 pounds. But then after the 3 months, it comes off. It's just your metabolism changing.
And my
Right.
doctor told me once that there is an element in nicotine that burns
Helps you
metabolism. So it does keep it off.
Right.
And it's not just a crutch saying, just because I'm quitting, am I going to get fat? Is that a myth? No, it's not a myth because there is an ingredient.
Right. So people do gain weight, but I mean, it comes off after 3 months or so. And I used the patch for the nicotine withdrawal itself, but I used sunflower seeds for the hand to mouth.
It's a great tip. Great tip.
Yeah,
It
it's
the
is an oral.
habits.
Sometimes it's just an
The
oral
oral,
thing you
yeah.
have.
Right.
more-
So it's the, the opening of the seeds, not just the regular seeds. You have
Right.
to open them, and
It's
you know
work.
what I mean. It is work.
Yeah,
and,
make it hard.
and after about 5 or 6 minutes, the craving goes away. The cravings only last like 3 to 5 minutes. And also, I had to remember it's just a craving.
Yeah.
It's going to go away. It's going to come back, but it's going to go away. And one of these days, it's not going to come back as much.
And I think you learn how to stay busy. At those moments, you pick up a book or you go outside or get away from where you might be wanting one so badly.
Yes.
And just have a hobby or do something to get on the phone. I don't know. I found lots of little ways to keep my mind off it because I quit in '92,
For you.
but I'd smoked since I was 12.
Yeah. So
I mean, not all the time though. I had a case where it wasn't a babysitter. I had an older friend of my older sister who took a whole bunch of us little girls under the house and had cigarettes, and we started smoking for the whole summer. And it wasn't a lifetime thing at that point, but it made me very open and ready to smoke when I could get hold of them. And it was more than 30 years.
So it's really, I mean, both of you from this story, because I was not a smoker. So from the story of how to stop smoking, it's also really important, a message for people of if somebody offers you
Yeah.
a cigarette, younger kids, teenagers, and we know peer pressure is such a big deal, is also helping to educate parents and helping them how to have that conversation that you don't start because it is such an addiction. And how you phrase that, I mean, like any of us, we've all been there. If your parents tell you you can't do something or have something, you're going to find
You
a way
bet.
to have
You
it
bet.
and get it. So instead of saying, no, don't do it, or you can't do this, it's more of educating. This is an
Give them
addictive
some
drug.
strategies.
Yeah, a strategy or a plan. So it's really as important of how to help people not even begin is as important as to help people to quit. It's a
It's true.
double-edged or
And I
double-edged.
envy anyone that grew up never starting because because that's the only way to
I do
successfully
too.
quit is obviously not to start. But there are a lot of us around, and I mean, I'm not sure when I would have stopped had my father not died of lung cancer that year.
See, it takes
That was kind of a
event. Yeah.
no-brainer. It wasn't just being a good person. It scared me, but I also knew my mother, who wasn't even sure I was smoking then. If she ever found out after that I was, it would have broken my heart and hers.
And the other thing is too, people, I've smoked all my life. Why do I need to stop now? There's statistics, and I mean the
Yeah.
American Cancer Society, and just to share some of the statistics, because for those that don't know, the Great American Smokeout is Friday, November 17th, and it's a day when we try to get everyone as a smoker to stop, and
Right.
if you aren't a smoker, to encourage those people with you to not smoke for that day, and it sends a message. And just statistically, some things that you can find this all on the American Cancer Society website. They have an awesome website in regards to this. But 20 minutes after quitting, your heart rate and blood pressure drop. 12 hours after quitting, the carbon monoxide level in your blood drops to normal. Staggering,
Isn't that
right?
something?
Yeah, 2 weeks to 3 months, your circulation improves and your lung function increases. So back to your climbing that hill at the Heartland Dam, you did it, right?
Yes, I
You
did.
At the
feel
end-
it happening.
And that was within the 3-month time frame. So that confirms that statistics. 1 to 9 months, coughing and shortness of breath decrease. A crazy thing. Increasing the ability to handle the mucus, clean the lungs, and reduce the risk of infection. 1 year. Okay, so for people that are thinking about it, the excess risk of coronary heart disease is half that of someone who continues to smoke. Your heart attack risk drop dramatically just after a year. So the other thing is to think about with smoking is, like you tried to quit it a million times. So there's gonna be those times that you get challenged. I don't know how many times, Judy, did you try
A few
and quit?
hundred.
A few hundred.
I mean,
So
I was
you-
trying on
right.
a regular basis.
And it's just eventually that's something that
There's
takes
usually
it.
something prods you, and it wasn't all just being good, it was being scared of
Yeah.
what just happened to me. I've read wonderful statistics, and they talk about lung damage, that after a certain amount of time, you don't worry about that. It's dissipated or it's gone. I want to tell you a quick story. I worked in the OR for years, and I smoked at the time. And there was a surgeon doing open heart surgery one day and lung surgery along with it. And he called all of us little people standing around the room and said, "Come on up on my little step, I want to show you something." And he showed us this big, disgusting black lung, and he said, "That's Marlboro country."
Oh,
That was the big phrase out there.
yeah.
And it just, you'd think I would have stopped then. No. But it certainly planted a scary thought, so.
Yeah.
And I might add, my father started smoking when he was 6 years old. He was one of 11 kids, and he died when he was 69 from smoking-related disease,
Yeah.
and he felt guilty on his deathbed.
I think, yeah, because by then he knew,
Yeah,
we didn't have stickers on packages saying
Right.
anything then.
Yeah, back then.
So
sure.
many people were smoking, no one was, I mean, you had to know intellectually it wasn't healthy, but
Yeah.
no one was saying what can happen, so there was a lot less awareness, so
right.
that helped when the labels started coming. That's Dr.
And he
Koop's
tried
big-
so hard to quit, but how do you quit something that you've been doing for as long as you can remember?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He felt really guilty that he was leaving us over, from smoking, where that could have been a preventable death.
Right.
And that's the key thing. So when people are thinking about the different health risks out there, smoking is a preventable
is.
disease
It
because
is.
it's really in your control.
It's one less way to
It is.
die.
Yeah.
If you want to put it
Right.
really bluntly, I mean,
And here's another thing, and we didn't talk about this before, but I'm curious, have you ever calculated how much money you saved after quitting smoking?
Yes, I did, but it's been so long now.
but just go by what the prices are now.
Right.
I mean,
I
both
don't
my
even
husband
know.
and I said if it ever gets to X, we're quitting.
I would say at least $2,500 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
Yep.
And that can be put to much better
Boots
uses.
and
Workout
shoes,
clothes.
yeah, workout clothes.
The important stuff.
The important stuff. So tell us a little bit about, so you've started working out, you've got your support and stuff like that. So throughout the, hiking the hill up Heartland and stuff, when did you really start to feel like, okay, I've got this and this is awesome and I'm never going back from the workout part?
I think probably, it might have been 2 years after, because I was going to, I'm going to give, for an example, I go to an 8:30 class. I was going 3 times a week because my schedule was different than it is now. And I was going, after the second year of going to that class, I was keeping up pretty good with the rest of the class,
There you
and
And there are
needing
ways-
more of a challenge by then.
See?
And
You can measure
yeah.
this
Yeah.
by activity levels. It's
And
really,
I'll tell you, when I first started going to the gym, I'd go home and I would feel nauseous and shaky. It's only because my body is not used to that. And and I'd rather set my hair on fire than go back, but I kept going back because to me it was a fight that I was going to win.
Yeah.
I was not going to let it.
and that's the level you get to. You're weak on certain of the stoppings that you try. You just
Yeah.
know that after the fact you realize I wasn't ready. But when you suddenly, something clicks in and you just, something very strong in you is much more determined
It's a
than
mindset.
it ever was.
Yeah.
And something
yeah.
triggers it. I had triggers, everyone has a way of going back to what got them smart.
Right. Well, my daughter, the time that I quit before the last time, my daughter said, she was very serious, and she said, "Mom, I don't want to go through what we went through with Grandpa again."
Yeah.
And
Boy,
that,
that hurt,
yeah.
but that resonated
They hit
Yeah.
home.
big time.
How long were you on the patch? Just to get the audience an idea.
6 weeks.
6
It-
weeks, okay.
I didn't want it to be, I used to use it as a Band-Aid, I used it so many times before just to, well, I can't go here because I don't want to smell like cigarettes, so I'd throw a patch on and
Oh.
not smoke all day, but
Yeah.
it was a game for me,
Yeah,
you know what I
short-term.
mean?
Yeah.
And after a while, I just get sick of playing the game, and
Sure.
you just
There
want
are a
to,
lot of games with smokers
Yeah.
when you don't want someone to know. My family
Yeah.
wasn't smoking, and I end up knowing they did know I was sneaking outside. Nothing's that hard to figure. But that's why I loved having a dog. My excuse every morning was to go walk the dog. They knew bloody well I was going out there to smoke and walk the dog. I mean, we're kind of
yeah.
transparent and pretty obvious what we're doing when we think we're hiding it. A lot of games.
you can't really hide the smell.
No.
And that's the problem. That's the thing. And I remember I was sort of forced myself into sneaking them from my father's supply, but I didn't want to take too many, or he'd notice. I mean, those things that you do when you just can't get your own. And as a
I
kid,
did the same thing.
you were forced to kind
Yeah.
of find someone you could take.
Well, yeah, because if you can't
It brings
afford-
out
you
a
don't
lot
have
of
the money.
bad stuff in you as a kid, or even as an adult, because you're playing this game of hide and seek. Where am I going to not let it? It's a big game in many ways,
Yeah.
but a deadly one too.
Yes. I lost a friend a couple of years ago. He was only 54 years old from lung cancer
cancer.
from smoking.
And smoking is a life, probably.
54 years old is very
And where
young.
we live
it's
now
way
is a
too
pretty
young.
healthy atmosphere. The Upper
Yes.
Valley is not, I'm confronted with a lot of smokers. So you forget that outside certain pockets of health, you can be right back in, walking behind a smoker now or past one on the sidewalk, I cringe, I hate it so much.
Well, there had been a movement, I think, to get the Upper Valley to be a
Big time.
smoke-free community, and
Yep.
a lot of businesses have
Peter
started
Christians
to
was
go.
the first one,
Yeah,
and
they're
everyone
no
thought,
longer
well, they're going to be
Hanover.
in trouble.
Yeah.
No, they weren't. They started a major movement.
Yeah, and so it's great that more and more people are starting to get on that bandwagon, but it comes down to an individual having the mindset to say, no more, I'm done. A life
true.
event, losing your dad,
It's true.
And,
know.
and it's so freeing.
Oh, very,
yeah,
very
yeah.
much so.
talk about that.
I-
But
Amazing.
one thing I'd like to do, though, for a brief minute before I forget or we run out of time, if you'd be willing, if you want to give our audience your email, there may be someone, as in like a 10-step situation, there might be someone out there who would like a buddy, would like to talk to someone who they just listened to.
Sure, absolutely. My email address is kat12363@gmail.com, and I'd be more than happy to help even just one person.
Exactly. Say it one more time, just in case.
kat12363@gmail.com.
Don't hesitate, because she's serious. She knows she has I mean, any one of us to do that would do this. I think she's a wonderful person to connect with if you want to, because you've got the whole history that they probably have too.
Yeah,
And like 10-step, you need a buddy.
right.
Yeah, the support's really important, and
Oh.
people need support in so many different ways. Everybody's got a different way
Yes.
that they might be approaching it, and
Uh-huh.
so hearing your story, listening to their stories, it would be awesome for people to connect. And you know, Kathy's really taken a great approach to this and stayed positive through it, and really changed her life to be a healthier lifestyle and enjoys it. I mean, see her all the time living that healthy lifestyle. So it's great if people really, you know, and maybe I've thought about it, I'm not sure,
Right.
I want to do it. Don't hesitate, because you need that person in
And
your
you could
life.
be in touch with Kathy and maybe stay, if you had to, I'm sure you could stay in touch with Kathy, so that when you need an extra little pat on the back or kick in the rear, or, you know, sometimes it's that more than anything else that
Yeah.
says, hang in there. I've
Kick
been
the
there.
habit.
Huh?
Remember the kick the habit slogan.
Kick the habit.
There you go. Kathy
So-
would be the one that kicks you.
Yeah.
Well,
On paper, on email only.
Yeah.
But it could help. It obviously helps a lot of people in situations with drugs, with alcohol. It works. We know that works. So it'd be great if someone reached out. And we'll be
Yes.
following this to see if they do.
all
We
right.
see her now all the time. Now that I know who she is, I see her in the gym, and I didn't know who she was. But now I do, and we'll be in touch all the time. But I think,
Absolutely.
I don't know, do you have any more thoughts?
Well, just, you know, it's not too late to stop. That's my big thing is change is hard. We know that. Everybody goes through different things, and it could be changing this. It's a habit. We know it.
Yes.
It's an addiction. We get that. We know that. And so there is proof in the pudding that it can be done, and people can be successful. So it's never too late to change something that's going to affect your life in a negative way.
True.
And the only other statistic from the American Cancer Society is that after 15 years of quitting, the risk of coronary heart disease is that of a non-smoker. So
See?
there is time, there is
Yes.
reason to make a change.
Yeah.
And the hand to mouth thing is a great tip, the sunflower seeds, because that's really what it is about, trying to get that simulation
Right.
of having something
It's
coming
true.
to your mouth. And so there's other tips of
Deep
out there.
breathing.
Deep breathing is an awesome one.
My father joined a
Meditation.
group to quit. I forget what age he was at, and it was smoke enders, I believe. And they had you carry around a box of whole cloves.
Oh, that's
and
an
you'd
interesting
Pop
one.
a clove in your mouth, and it's such a nice, strong.
Yeah,
It kind of took the place of what you were thinking about doing,
yeah.
and he quit after he'd been smoking for 50-odd years. He quit.
And using the
So
little clove.
I learned to like cloves, although it didn't work for me. I just stopped cold turkey, which can be the best way. Sometimes it's not. It's not for everybody. But the benefits, I mean, I've been a gym rat now for years. I couldn't do this. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't. You'd feel sluggish. You don't feel like
Yeah.
even getting out there to make the first move. So
I never want to go through that again.
There you go.
The beginning.
The beginning
And I never
stages
want to
of
go
quitting.
through quitting again, ever. I never want to have to quit again.
Yeah.
something tells me, folks, that she's not going to. It's
So,
just
yeah.
encouraging to people to hear this.
Yeah. If I can say one thing, that would be never quit trying to quit.
That's a great
Perfect.
slogan.
Perfect, and that really is what we're here to say.
Yeah.
Don't
give up on
It
yourself.
can be, I did quit multiple times, I mean, multiple times, and some lasted a fair amount of time, some didn't. But it never made me stop trying. I didn't think of it as always a failure, I just said, I'll try it again. It's a very strange disease.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, any
And,
addiction.
but it was,
Nicotine
but
is a
nowadays
drug.
it's
It is.
easier, I think, because there are fewer people smoking in general.
Right. And they've made it, more harder to smoke in public places.
you're a-
Like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Can you imagine sitting on an airplane while everyone
no.
I
is
mean, they used
smoking?
to smoke on
yeah.
airplanes, of all the closed-in, claustrophobic situations, to have to smell that?
I know, and I always loved that the smoking people were in
Yes.
the front,
As if
so
that
the
kept it?
non-smokers had to go through it.
You really think it kept the smoke from traveling up
Yeah,
there?
it's crazy.
But I think we're all better off, and our children and grandchildren, or whoever are better off, because they're seeing so much less of it, they're not half as tempted.
Right.
And I was telling Kathy, my two of my grandchildren, their mother has always said, don't ever be judgmental, and don't ever say, driving by a smoker, don't say that, he's stupid. Just, my grandson now just goes like this when he sees a smoker
Yeah.
on the sidewalk. And it's so cute because we know exactly what he's saying. But
I kind of feel sorry for smokers because I know that it's an addiction, and I know that most smokers don't want to smoke. They're,
Yeah.
but they
even though they're
can't-
loving each cigarette,
Exactly. Well, it tastes good.
it gets to.
It wouldn't taste good right now, but I mean, it's so hard. It's so
because
hard to
that's what they
explain.
know.
If you're not a smoker,
Yeah.
you wouldn't understand. But
You have to, yeah.
I feel bad for people who smoke because I know that they can feel so much better than what they feel like right
And they
now.
probably never will. I mean, chances are,
Yeah.
I'd like to think they went our way, your way,
Mhm.
but I know facts are that there are people who smoke who are always going to.
Yeah.
And darn in a culture or surroundings where it's cool to quit.
Yeah.
So if you're with a bunch of smokers and that's what they do and they're smoking all day, and
It really is a lifestyle change. I
It
mean,
is.
bottom line is, from hearing your experience, it's real, and yours as well, Judy, it's really about making a choice to change your life.
That's
And
right.
when people are ready to do it, they will. And so we always give homework or a challenge to
Yes,
people.
we do.
So this Friday, November 17th, Great American Smokeout, we would encourage everybody to stop smoking for that day, or if you're a non-smoker, to find someone that you might know is a smoker, or you do know is a smoker. I guess you might know.
I guess you don't have to
would
guess.
know. You would know they were a smoker, and ask them for their safety and for their health to stop smoking for that day, and that could be the tip
And I
of the
don't-
iceberg, right?
and I don't know the numbers, but I know since this started many moons ago, it has,
It has.
that one day has done it for a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't, the statistics that I pulled off from their website doesn't have that, but it definitely has an impact, and that's why they keep doing it. And, we talked about it being a tough time of year to quit because of the holidays and stress and New Year's and stuff like that. But instead of making a New Year's resolution on January 1st, which often people, I mean, I don't make them, to be honest with you, because I think that if you're ready for a change, you should do it
Can be
whenever
in the middle of August,
right?
yep.
So November 17th could be that day to start it. So give yourself, that little push, that little shove. Reach out to Kathy, reach out to us, and we can more than willing to help anybody.
And this show will show on Friday the 17th. So if you catch it, there's still time to do it on that day. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with starting on the 18th, though, if that's when you see this.
Right, or the
So-
19th, or the 20th.
And there's no one day, but this is just a big national thing that has gone on for
I want to say it's close to 10
it-
10 years.
easy.
Yeah.
And but I think the other thing is just stick with the groups of people that are healthy for you.
That's right.
The drinkers don't want to go back to drinking groups. The drugs don't want to go back to those groups. And this is the same thing because
Yeah.
the temptation is enormous.
I just can't. I had to stay away from people that smoked because I knew that I would smoke a cigarette. I knew I would.
Did they ever put up a block when you said that? Did they ever say, "What? Really? You're not going to see me just because of that?" Or did it go okay?
I don't remember, so I'm going to say I don't think I had really that much of a hard time with that because that would have really stuck out.
Well, yeah, it would. You'd remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because no one should put up a wall when
Yeah.
just because someone's trying to do the right thing.
Right.
Well, you have been very inspirational.
Thank
I will
you.
say that, and I hope seriously that you will contact Kathy if you want to, and either of us, and our information's up there, because it's really something that you might be just teetering on the fence about, and you may just need one little word of support. And if you've watched Kathy, you know that it can happen however long you've been trapped
Maybe
by
you've
these.
tried to quit
Yeah.
a million times like me.
And it is a trap. It is,
Yes.
you're a prisoner of smoking. I know that feeling. So please, this is just part of what we do here, these two little people. But it's a huge part of the wellness. And if that doesn't stand out as one of the big parts, I don't know what does.
Right.
Because we talk about it and we have before.
Yeah.
But now we've got a living proof of what you can overcome in the way of something that's not healthy. So please, if you want to be in touch, and also let us know if you have any thoughts, critiques, compliments. You love us, you hate us, you don't hate us. Please get in touch with us, because we like ideas and we like opinions and critiques. But please also get in touch with Kathy, because she's a terrific person to be a supporter for you.
Thank
and a
you.
booster, cheerleader, which is all good. So,
No way. What's
we'll
that
see
time
you
again?
next time. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
I think they will appreciate seeing what you've been through and how you've licked it. So we will see you next time on Wellness Watch.